My sister is at war with me over the legacy. Hello, everyone. My name is Hannah. I never thought that I would tell my story this way, and I also realized that the enemy is known in money. Yes, and don't be surprised if you suddenly get rich and your closest person becomes your enemy. That's how it turned out for me. Now I'll tell you everything. But in the meantime, get comfortable, listen, watch, and also do not forget to like the video, comment on the story, and subscribe to the channel. We had a great life with my family. Dad, Mom, my sister Candy, and me. Candy is 7 years older than me, and although we are different, and the age difference is not small, still, we love to play together as children. Candy, as an exemplary older sister, defended me in every possible way. Always. I was pleased with the thought that I had such protection and support. I remember being accosted by a girl in elementary school. She really liked my new sneakers. She was twice as big as me and tried to take them away, and I couldn't give them away because it was Candy's birthday present. She saved up the money and bought them for herself, although she could have asked my parents, but she wanted to give me a gift herself. She loved me very much. So when that girl almost pinned me to the wall, I was already shaking all over with fear. My sister suddenly ran up to us. "You can't hurt the little ones," she said, and pushed her away. She tried to do something, but my sister stood up for me like a mountain. I remembered her action forever, for the rest of my life. This was my personal superhero. How could I have asked for more? Our parents were very proud of our connection and that Candy was so sensitive about me. I was born a late child, so they were a little more afraid for me than for her. That's how we grew up. And then our lives turned upside down. Something terrible happened. Something we weren't prepared for. Something that no one is ready for. Winter came and my family and I were going to traditionally go to the mountains to ride boards and ski. My parents loved the sport and took us with them from an early age. But that year, they were invited by their colleagues, Dad's boss. They were there to celebrate the Christmas corporate party. Well, as you understand, without children. We were very upset because we also wanted to go for a ride, but we couldn't be taken. Dad promised that we would go for a ride in a couple of weeks after they arrived back, and we agreed. Candy looked after me. We planned out the days when my parents were away, ordered pizza that night, and watched movies late into the night. And in the morning was the worst of our lives. While my sister and I were having breakfast, the phone suddenly rang. Candy answered, and after a minute, her face turned pale, and then the receiver fell out of her hands, and she looked at me and fell silent. I knew something bad had happened, but I didn't want to believe it, even though I already knew in my heart. Our parents' funeral was held as soon as they were brought back. We were constantly receiving condolences. Candy was so angry that she told her colleagues that if they invited our parents to the Christmas party, the accident wouldn't have happened there. I tried to calm her down, but I couldn't. I felt bad too, but I knew it wouldn't help my grief. It wasn't long after that, and my sister and I were more or less coming to our senses, and then Mr. Lower came to our house. He was a lawyer who worked with our parents, or rather with my father. He pulled out a piece of paper where he had read the will. It turned out that our parents had prepared it for a long time. I do not know why they did so. It said that all the property they had acquired should go to Candy and me, exactly in half. But we were still living together in our house, where we lived with my dad and mom, so there was no question of sharing. For the first couple of years, we had enough money that we collected after the funeral. Plus, as it turned out, a lot of people owed our parents a lot of money. Thank goodness that the debtors gave it back as soon as they learned about the news. Since my sister was already an adult, she herself took temporary custody of me, and we started a new life as adults. Candy still took care of me, cooking for me, cleaning the house, and sometimes helped me with homework. And then she had a boyfriend. To be honest, I was happy for her because she deserved attention. And besides, since my parents were gone, she took care of me every now and then. She needed a distraction. So as soon as I thought about it, the picture changed. This guy, what's his name? Bobby? I think he was a good-looking guy, but I could see right through him. There was a lot of dirt in it. I mean, inside. Didn't she see that? Every time he came to our house, he would look at every detail in the house. And once, he even tried to steal a vase. It was old, and he apparently knew about it. I startled him and pretended to just stare at him. That's when all the fun started. Bobby gave the impression of being a diligent guy, coming to Candy's house every day and trying more and more to see what he could take out of the house. I told my sister about it a couple of times, but she didn't believe my words. She said that she was tired of me, that for the first time in her life, she felt good and she was resting from everything, and I was against it. I don't mind your happiness, but can't you see? He just wants our money, I once said, for which I received a slap in the face. The first time. It was the first time she ever laid a hand on me. We've stopped talking ever since. The worst thing is, I've seen her fall more and more in love with him, and this idiot is manipulating her. After 6 months, our savings began to run out. All the money that we saved, that our parents' debtors gave us, it became less and less. I couldn't bear to watch it. The worst was yet to come. One day, my sister came up to me and told me that she and Bobby had decided to get married. I was so outraged, and Candy says to my face, "I know you don't love him, but we've decided to leave, so I'll sell my share of the house and take everything that belongs to me. And yet, my parents said that you have half of it, but it's not fair, because I took care of you, which means you have to give me 80% of the property and take the rest for yourself," she said, and left. I couldn't believe she could even say that. I knew it was her boyfriend's influence. But from that moment on, we had a real struggle for money. I hated fighting for my parents' money with my own sister, but I couldn't believe she was doing it for the sake of a jerk she was also going to marry. I threw all my strength into bringing her to her senses. I knew he must have skeletons in his closet. So I raised the last of my money, hired an agent, and put that idiot under surveillance. Within a couple of days, I had racy photos of his betrayal. Moreover, my agent managed to record on video how Bobby carefully told his girlfriend that a little more and he would receive money from my sister and they would go to the Maldives. I threw all the evidence to Candy when she came home late at night. At first, she was outraged that I had violated her privacy at all. But then when she heard and saw the contents of the folder from me, tears welled up in her eyes. I understood that she was hurt, but she almost destroyed our family because of him. Of course I did not want this. Am I not right? My sister hasn't spoken to me in days, and neither has anyone. She locked herself in a room and didn't come out. Her phone and our home phone were ringing off, and I didn't pick up either. And then he came to our house in person. I opened the door and told him to get lost, but he didn't even listen to me, just walked past me and went inside. "Candy, honey, is everything all right?" he shouted. She came out of her bedroom, smiled at him, and came downstairs. He bombarded her with questions, wanted to go to hug her, and she told him rudely, "Get out." He didn't immediately understand, but she threw the ring at him and shouted it again. God, I even recorded this moment on video. First, he tried to find out what was wrong, and then she threw the photos from my agent in his face. He swallowed his tongue. His eyes were wide with surprise. He silently backed away and took off. Forever. We haven't seen him since. By the way, yes, Candy came to her senses. We then had a good talk and promised each other not to get carried away with this kind of stuff again. We're family, so what's more important, right?